All right, we're going to go ahead and get started with our check-in question. If you can, in the chat box, go ahead and tell us what your favorite outdoor activity is. My name is Rebecca, and my favorite outdoor activity is hiking. And Charlie, what about you?
My favorite outdoor activity is either campfire cooking or horseback riding.
Ooh, horseback riding. I forgot about that. While we're continuing to let girls in and we start like reading your chats with your favorite outdoor activity, I'm going to go ahead and also early introduce our special guest today. Christy Tafoya, who is the director of New Mexico State Parks, is here. And Christy, what's your favorite outdoor activity?
Well, I really love to go exploring and hiking, and I love archaeology, so that's my favorite thing to do.
Ooh, and girls, can I tell you a very fun fact about Ms. Tafoya? Not only is she the first female director of New Mexico State Parks, she's also a Girl Scout. So great career path. If that's something, if you like being outdoors, we've got a perfect Girl Scout here for you. We're also joined by Pat Walsh, who is the Regional Interpretive Ranger up in the very, very top of the state at Chagrin Canyon State Park. Pat, what's your favorite outdoor activity?
Well, I don't get to do it very much, but I love to kayak and go kayaking on a lake.
We have kayaking at Camp Elliott Barker in the summer, normally.
You've got a great lake up there too at Chagrin, which one of the coolest things that I've ever learned about the park where you're based is that half of it is in another state.
Yeah.
Part of it.
The lake just goes right back and forth. All right, well, we've got a good number of folks here, so we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna share my screen, girls. And again, if you're just coming in, you can go ahead and type into the chat, what's your favorite outdoor activity? Looks like we've got s'mores and picnicking. Who doesn't love that? What else? More, horseback riding, camping, walking your cat. Kira, that's got to be a very interesting outdoor activity. I'm going to share my screen so we can get started with the promise and the law. Does that sound good with everybody? All right, so welcome to All About New Mexico State Parks. Again, my name is Rebecca. Many of you know Charlie, and we'll get started now with how we start all of our Girl Scout meetings. So if you'll please join me, if you'd like to unmute so that we can hear everybody, that would be great. You ready? Hey, Leah, do you want to go ahead and get us started with the Girl Scout promise?
On my honor, I will try to serve God and to help people at all times and to live by the Girl Scout law.
Very good. And Christy, can you start us with the Girl Scout law, please?
Sure. I will do my best to be honest and fair, friendly and helpful, considerate and caring, courageous and strong, and responsible for what I say and I do, and to respect myself and others, respect authority, use resources wisely, and make the world a better place, and to be a sister to every Girl Scout.
Very nice. So the reason that we're doing this weekend, or doing this talk today, is that this weekend is Girl Scouts Love State Parks. Did you guys get to go to any state parks last year? Or any time? If you want to share what your favorite New Mexico State Park is in the chat, you are welcome to do that. We're going to show you in just a minute 2 of your Girl Scout sisters who got to go to state parks recently, and they're going to share with you a video about what makes these state parks their favorite. But this happening this weekend. Charlie, can you tell us just a little bit about what to expect this weekend at Girl Scouts Love State Parks?
Yeah, of course. And so for this weekend, for this year, we're going to be doing a little bit virtual and a little bit in person because we always want to make sure that we're practicing our social distancing and being safe for the COVID-19. But we are going to be offering 2 virtual activities on Saturday and 2 virtual activities on Sunday. They're both going to be in the morning, so that you still have the whole afternoon to go and spend time outside. But we have Pat is actually going to be doing one of our programs, and it's a great one. She did it for camp this summer. I really enjoyed it. The girls loved it. And then we're also going to be hearing from the Rio Grande Nature Center for some bird watching. And then from the Girl Scout side, I'm going to be doing some campfire cooking and also some 8 Essentials or Beyond the 8 Essentials bingo and a little fun swap craft project. And then we want y'all to gather everything up, make sure you've got your masks and your hand sanitizer, check the NM State Parks website to make sure the park you want to go to is open, and then go with your family and practice, being safe out there and go and visit a state park. I think I read somewhere that some interpretive rangers, which is what Pat is, will be available to talk to you. Some of the visitor centers will be open, but of course, Christy and Pat can answer that one a little bit better. But otherwise, all you have to do is go to a park, have fun, take some pictures while you're at the park, and then post them to social media and or email them back to us. And then that way we can send everybody a really fun patch for participating in the weekend.
Who wants a patch for Girl Scouts Love State Parks? Me. And it looks just like this picture that says Girl Scouts Love State Parks. So it's really
super
beautiful.
cute. I love it.
It's amazing. So let's hear from 2 of your Girl Scout sisters now. We're going to hope that the sound works. And we'll hear first from, from Lila.
Hi, I'm Lila, and I'm a cadet Girl Scout. You may have been here before on a class field trip over the Girl Scout treat because it's a favorite spot to visit for groups. There are plenty of places to view wildlife from indoors or outdoors. And if you enjoy learning about
Don't have audio, folks.
Yeah, it's like it's very quiet. Oh, I think it's because you muted yourself, Rebecca.
it's a fun way to learn about nature.
Let me start that again.
Hi, I'm Lila, and I'm a cadet Girl Scout. You may have been here before on a class field trip or with your Girl Scout treat because it's a favorite spot to visit for groups. There are plenty of places to view wildlife from indoors or outdoors. And if you enjoy learning about and watching birds, this is the perfect place to visit. You can even earn your animal habitat badge while you're here. One of my favorite things to do is to play costume search bingo, where I can win by searching birds, animal tracks, weeds, and other things at the park. It's a fun way to learn about nature, and you can get the instructions at the park. I hope you get to visit during Girl Scouts Love State Parks weekend, September 12th to 13th, where Girl Scouts from all over America will be visiting state parks in their area. Learn more about New Mexico State Parks on nmparks.com.
Yay, Lila. And then we have another video from Girl Scout Brownie Alana.
I'm not hearing her, folks.
Ride horses here. You can even bring your own horse, or you can take a trail ride with one of the whole horses on the back. There are
I can't hear either.
If you've never ridden a horse, this is a great place. One of my other favorite things about Tafoya State Park is all the hiking you can do, and the fact that when you look all around, you can see all the mountains. When I come to Tafoya Hills with my family, we make sure to wear a mask and stay in a small group.
Oh, one of my favorite things about this park? Wow, that's a great question. Well, it so happens that we are coming up now on tarantula season. Yeah, so tarantulas have their mating season in the fall. So starting in another week or two, they'll be out and they will be visible through the park. And it's going to be right during that same weekend, the 12th and 13th of September. People might have a chance to actually see tarantulas. Best times to see the tarantulas are in the part of the day when it's weak sunlight. So that means like in the early morning or in the evening hours. This is my friend Boris, and Boris would like to remind us all that we need to stay at least one Boris leg span, no, 2 times Boris leg span away from each other, proper social distancing, right? So that's important for people to remember when they come out to the park.
I hope you and your family get the chance to visit during Girl Scouts Love State Park weekend on September 12th and 13th. You can find out about all the New Mexico State Parks at nmparks.com.
Yay. Okay, so that's the end of our videos. Hopefully you guys could hear those. Yes, kind of.
And if you couldn't hear them, they are on the Girl Scouts of New Mexico Trails Facebook page, which I linked over in the chat if you guys want to watch them again later.
And this is what I'll do too. I will send them out in a link to all of your, to your parents or caregivers, so that if you want to watch them later, then you absolutely may. And I apologize for that, but I'm glad Charli was here to help at least figure that out. You know, she's much more tech savvy than I am. So again, big weekend coming up with New Mexico State Parks. It's Girl Scout Love State Parks weekend. And so that's why we have our 2 special guests here, Christy Tafoya, the director of NM State Parks, and Pat Walsh, our regional interpretive ranger from up at Chagrit. So Christy, I'm gonna toss it over to you. You've been involved with Girl Scout State Parks now for the 2nd year at a national level too. This was really your brainchild. So tell us a little bit about the background and, you know, everything that we need to know about New Mexico State Parks.
Sure. Well, hi, girls. Nice to see all of you. Thank you for joining us today. You know, when I was a Girl Scout, one of my absolute favorite things to do was to go out into parks and to camp. So my mom did not like camping a whole lot. And so this was a really cool way for me to learn how to camp and be able to sleep in a tent and to look at the night sky. And I love Charli's idea of campfire cooking, love campfire cooking. And so when I grew up and I worked with state parks, I thought it would be so cool if we could get girls like you out to parks with your families and enjoy some of those really great memories that I remember as a kid. And so I wanted to try to find ways to make that easier for you and for your families to do that. And state parks, we have state parks. We have 35 state parks here in New Mexico, 35 state parks. Remember that, 35 state parks in New Mexico. And each state has their own amazing state parks, right? And so many of these state parks are really close to your house. You know, if you live in Albuquerque, the Rio Grande Nature Center State Park is right down the road from where you live, right? So I thought it would be so neat if we could connect Girl Scouts with your leadership and the fun that you like to have to our state parks, not only in New Mexico, but to state parks all across the country. So we were started on this last year. Charli was involved and Ranger Pat was involved, and we had 4 awesome events this past Girl Scouts Love State Parks weekend. And that was when we could go outside and all be together, right? So it was really fun. Pat did archery. We did all kinds of fun activities. We did water activities. I got to go to Benton Lake State Park. We had Eagle Nest Lake State Park. There were all these lake parks and cool fun things that we were doing. And we had so much fun last year that we thought, let's do it again. And you know what I think is really cool? Because it's so cool to see each one of you. There's really a lot of neat ways that we can do things together. Like you've been like having lots of fun programs with Charli, and we can do things on the computer together, but we can also do some socially distanced things in the parks that are right around the corner from you. So we have almost all of our parks open right now for day use. We're not open for camping right now, but that'll happen soon. And so what we would love for you to do is go onto our website. You can see which ones of our parks are open, and just following some simple rules of wearing our masks, right? We all are wearing our masks when we're together, making sure we're socially distanced or just with our family groups. And we would love to have you come into our parks and visit that day or any day. We would love for you to come with your families and come and have fun in our parks. So that's what I'd like to do, is to invite you to the New Mexico State Parks. We don't have our visitor centers open right now, but we have so many of our campgrounds that still have sites that are open, even though we're not open for camping. We have, you know, beautiful lakes. We have beautiful nature parks. You got to see 2 of them. You got to see Cerrillos Hills State Park. That was the first video that you saw was, I'm sorry, the Rio Grande Nature Center State Park, and then Cerrillos Hills State Park. So those were the 2 parks that you saw. So I want to invite you and your families out to state parks. And I'm really excited to see what Ranger Pat has to say, because she's one of our best educators and interpreters on the planet.
So Christy, before we get to Pat, there was a question about is Tent Rocks a state park? And someone pointed out, no, it's not, that it's not a New Mexico State Park, but City of Rocks is a New Mexico State Park. What are some of the other more popular state parks around the state?
Well, have you guys ever heard of Elephant Butte Lake? Who's heard about Elephant Butte Lake? You have, I can see you, Shiloh, you've heard of it. Yeah, Raina. So that's our biggest lake. You have too, Paisley? Cool. That's our biggest lake in the whole system. All the way from that to like Pat's awesome park, Sugar Canyon State Park. That's on the northern part of the state, and it's beautiful with lakes and historic sites and that kind of thing. We also have awesome parks that, like Rebecca mentioned, City of Rocks State Park, which is in the southwestern part of the state and has beautiful rock formations. I think that's one of my favorite parks too. I have so many though. Yeah, and there are just so many. We have 35 state parks. Remember that magic number, okay?
35. And is Living Desert is a state park as well, right? Zoo?
It is. We have a zoo, and we have a bear. We have a painting bear. Her name is Maggie. And
I actually was there a couple of weeks ago.
Right? Yeah. So, yeah, we have a zoo. We have just everything that you could think of from a park experience. We even have dinosaur tracks. So if you like dinosaurs, we have, yeah. Who likes dinosaurs? I love dinosaurs. Who likes dinosaurs? Yeah. So that's Clayton Lake State Park. We have dinosaurs there, dinosaur tracks. So anyway, yeah, we have something for everybody, and we want you to come and visit us and bring your families.
Great, thank you. So lots to do this weekend with Girl Scouts Love State Parks, and every weekend. Lots of fishing and camping and hiking, and we just really, really love New Mexico State Parks. And as Christy mentioned, so Ranger Pat has got some really cool stuff to share with you guys. You ready to hear that?
Are we awake?
Can we get some thumbs up?
Who's awake?
We got some lots of enthusiastic thumbs up, but never always so much on the face.
So a lot of you said you've been to a state park. So I want to know if you have seen a wild animal in a state park. If you have, show me a thumbs up.
Does a horse count? Does a horse count?
Madeline's seen something. Paisley's
Only if it's a wild horse.
So Charlie, how do we find out what they've seen?
So if you guys can, you can type into the chat, what are the animals that you have seen at some state parks? Or if you want to and you can't type, you can raise your hand and we can also call on you. Paisley is like me, call on me. Go ahead, Paisley.
I saw a snake and it just slithered across my path and I screamed. And my mom stopped behind me.
Yep.
And then Raina has her hand up.
I went to Cimarron Canyon and I saw some deer.
Great.
Nice. And in the chat, we said, Madeline says she saw a roadrunner and a coyote. And Leah asked if something in Ohio counts. And I said yes, because it's still a state park, even if it's not in New Mexico. Ella has seen birds. Kira has not gone to a state park, I don't think yet. But she still can this weekend.
Okay. So what kind of big animals do you think might live in the park where I am? And I'll tell you, there's big trees and forests and lakes. So scratch your chin.
Go ahead,
Lee. Write in
Oh.
the chat, what big animals do you think might live in the park where I work?
Giant catfish. Maybe?
We have some catfish. Ooh, cougar, bears, deer, more lions. All right. So how many of you, horses? Not unless somebody brings them to ride. How many, is anybody here afraid? Elk, yep. Bear, yep. Do you know, so how many people here are afraid of a cougar? Some people call them mountain lions. Some people are, yeah? Okay, well, I thought I would bring one home today so I could show you. Can I show you my pet cougar? Yeah? Okay.
No, go away. Go away. Go away. Oh.
Now, this is not a live cougar anymore. Poor baby. I wish it were. But every time I show people the cougar, I like to tell them that I say thank you to the animal because it gave its life, but it helps me, he or she helps me talk to people about how to be safe around cougars, how to live and let live, right? So I think cougars are really special, but I don't want to get eaten by one. Does anybody have an idea? And by the way, that almost never happens. Does anybody know what cougars like to eat? Yeah, it's dead. It's dead. What does a cougar like to eat? Can you write it in the chat? Deer. Raina says deer. Deer. Give yourself a pat on the back, Raina. Good job. Yep. Cougars like to eat deer. But the trick is we don't want them to think that we are deer. So there's some things we shouldn't do, like go out by ourselves on a trail running, jogging at dawn or dusk, because that's when the cougars like to hunt. Now let's say you're walking on the trail and suddenly you see a live cougar. What do you think you should do? Write it in the chat. Or Charlie can call on you, whichever works better.
Yeah. I saw your hand again, Leah, if you want to answer out loud.
Oh, yeah, and I see a good one in the chat too.
Nice. Run.
So we've
No,
got,
don't run.
We've got some different
Walk
answers.
away slowly.
We've got some different answers, and a few of them are just on target. So I can't see them all, but somebody said, stop and look big. And
Yeah.
they were right on target. So
And we got
I
be
would
loud.
like
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
all of you, here's what I'm gonna help you do this. We're gonna pretend that we see the cougar. So I'd like all of you Girl Scouts, stand up where you are. Stand up. You can do it. Okay, now raise your arms all the way to the sky. All the way to the sky. Exactly. Perfect. And now tell the cougar, I am not a deer. Say that with me. I am not
a deer.
Oh, let's do that one more time. See if we can do it louder.
I am not a deer.
A deer. Excellent. Excellent. And now look behind you. Don't sit down yet. Look behind you. Keep your arms up. Keep your arms up. Look behind you and take a step back. Take one step back. And then look at the cougar again and say, I am not a deer.
No.
Okay. Okay. And you're going to keep doing that until the cougar says, no, not a deer, and goes away. Okay.
Hi. Go away. Come on.
That was very good. All right. Now, somebody else said that we have bears at my park at Sugar Eat Canyon State Park, and they were correct. So I also brought a pet bear with me.
Oh.
Now, does anybody think they know what kind of bear this is? If you do, write it in the chat. And somebody asked a question, why are they dead? Well, it's not too good to mess around with live bears and live cougars. So this is how I'm able to show you what they look like, right? So I say, thank you, bear, for helping me show people what black bears look like.
And we've got 3 people saying black bear, so.
So how did you know it was a black bear? Because it's not black, is it? How did you know? Well, here's the trick.
Anybody know?
Because black bears are the only bears that we have in New Mexico now. No, actually, brown bears are a kind of grizzly bear. There used to be grizzly bears here, but people hunted them out. Okay. So when these animals die, somebody was asking, why just use dead ones? Well, if one of them dies, like this bear might have been hit by a car, and if once it's died, this is a way for us to use its fur to show people what they look like. Okay. Now earlier somebody said, oh, and I should back up. So we want to be safe around bears. And the big thing to do with bears is not feed them.
Do bears eat meat?
They'll eat almost anything we will. Okay. So if we leave out dog food, do you think the bears are going to eat it? What do you think? Shake your nod or shake your head? What do you think? They're going to eat dog food or not eat dog food? Oh yeah, they'll eat dog food. Will they eat hummingbird juice? You think they like the sweet hummingbird juice? Oh yeah, they do. Oh yeah. They'll knock your hummingbird feeder down to get to it. So I wanted to show you something that I found at Sugar Eat. Some folks were camping a few years ago, and they had a whole case of Sprite, and they left it outside their camper. And when they came back, every can had been messed up. So let's see if I can show you this. You see how this can is messed up? Do you see those holes? Now, is the can open? No. What did the bear do to get the soda? What did the bear do? That's right, he bit into it and got the sugary soda inside. And he did that with every can of Sprite. So I was very confused and said to the game warden, how did the bear smell the soda inside the closed can? And the game warden said, probably the bear found an open can of soda sometime in the past and remembered. Whoa. Is that a smart bear? What do you think? Was that a smart bear? Yeah. So should we leave stuff like this around? What do you think? Mm-mm. And you know what happens? When bears get in trouble,
and they become our ambassador that you have there with you.
it's possible. When we get bears in trouble, which is usually what happens, the bears are the ones that pay the price. Usually, a lot of times the bear dies. Well, because the game wardens, they have a tough job. They want to protect the bears, but they want to protect you too, right? So if the family that was in the campsite before you left food out and the bear came through and then those people left and you and your family come through and you're camping, do you think the bear remembers to look in the campsite to see if there's food? What if you're in the tent and the bear starts trying to come in the tent? So the game wardens have to decide what to do with the bears. So the best thing for us to do is to never let the bears get in trouble, okay? So here's how I remember it. Help keep black bears out of trouble. Pick up your trash on the double. Can you say that with me? Here we go. Help keep black bears out of trouble. Pick up your trash on the double. Okay. So I have, oh, I forgot. I wanted to show you this. This is my poop bag. You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding. This is a bag of bear poop.
Oh, but that's got like trash in it.
What's in there? What's in that bag of bear poop? Can you see? What's in there?
Is it plastic?
Yep.
Ooh.
Candy wrappers, plastic bags, all kinds of gross stuff. So here's the deal. When we leave our trash out and the bear eats it, it comes out the other end too. Isn't that sad? Would you want to poop out trash? No, and it can make them sick. It can even kill them. So we want to help those black bears. Okay, I've got one last animal to talk about. Somebody mentioned that they had seen a snake in a park. So I want to show you this little snake. This little snake is dead too. And the reason why this one's dead is because someone saw it at Ute Lake State Park and they killed it. And I said, can you please give me the body so that I can show other people? So this is a little tiny snake. It's a baby rattlesnake, okay? How do I know it's a rattlesnake? Can anybody see how I know it's a rattlesnake? How do I know it's a rattlesnake?
Go ahead, Raina.
By the tail and by like the diamond shaped on its back.
Okay, yeah, the tail. What's on the end of the tail?
A rattle.
A rattle. A snake can't be a rattlesnake unless it's got a rattle. Now, I have to tell you that I think rattlesnakes are that's okay, sweetie, you don't have to look. I think rattlesnakes are the most polite snake there is when it comes to rattlesnakes. Does anybody have an idea why I think they're polite? So if the snake is on the ground and I'm about to walk onto the snake does this.
It gives you a warning.
Exactly. And there's no other venomous snake that does that. So our rattlesnakes are actually pretty polite. What are they trying to say when they rattle?
Don't step on
What are
me.
they trying to say?
Would you like to open her mouth?
Don't step on me. Say that.
Don't step on me. That's it. Don't step on me.
I'm not.
That's it. Right. So if we step on a dog or a cat, are they going to bite us? Maybe, right? So the snake is just doing the same thing that a dog or cat might do. Wait a minute. Rattlesnakes have venom. They're out to get us. Is that true? Are the rattlesnakes out to hurt us? What's the venom for? What's the venom for?
Anybody know? Raise your hand. Go ahead, Raina.
To protect itself from other animals?
And then Paisley had her hand up too.
That's a good guess.
Thank you. Go ahead, Paisley.
We need another guess though.
Protect itself and not get eaten.
That's a good guess. And sometimes a bite might help protect them. But the venom, what some people call poison, but it's actually venom, is very powerful. Let me ask another question. Does anybody here know somebody who goes hunting? Anybody know somebody who goes hunting?
Oh,
Okay.
Alana does, Madeline does, Shiloh does.
I went hunting a couple of years ago. So if I go take a rifle to go hunting, what do I need inside the rifle? I'm seeing something in the chat.
Like they're mouthing it. Go ahead, Leah.
What do I need in the rifle?
See if
If I
anybody
just take an
types
empty
in.
rifle, is that going to work?
To help you heal from a snake bite.
Oh. Yeah. You should also.
Okay.
What goes inside the rifle?
If I go hunting with a rifle, I better put some ammunition in that rifle or I'm not going to hunt anything, right? Are snakes hunters? Are rattlesnakes hunters? So what do you think the venom might be for?
Good. Do you want to answer, Madeline? Okay, go ahead.
Hunting.
Exactly. So what the snake does is it sneaks up on a rabbit and bites it and then backs up. And it lets the venom kill the rabbit and then the snake can eat the rabbit. Now that might not sound too nice to us, but how many of you eat hamburgers? Raise your hand if you eat hamburgers. Raise your hand if you eat hot dogs. Okay. Where did those things come from? Where does meat come from? Where does meat come from? Animals, exactly. Now, do we have to go out and kill the animal? Or does somebody do it for us, right? Somebody else does it for us. Is somebody going to kill the rabbit for the rattlesnake? No. The rattlesnake has to hunt for itself. Now, sometimes if we step on a rattlesnake and it bites us, it might put venom in us that could make us sick. So we need to know what to do so that we don't get bit by a rattlesnake. Now remember, does the rattlesnake live in the park?
Mhm.
Yep. Does the bear live in the park?
Mhm.
Does the cougar live in the park?
Mhm.
Wait, is it their home?
Mhm.
Yeah, wait a minute. Are we the visitors? Oh. So we're going into their home, right? So do you think we should treat them with respect? Yeah. So here's what you do with snakes. If you hear a rattle, well, first of all, let's back up. Should you stay on a trail? Should you walk on a trail? Yes, because then you can see what's in front of you, okay? So walk on the trail, and if you hear a rattle, what do you think you should do? Run screaming? Why wouldn't you run? You might fall off a cliff, right? So you stop, find the snake. Oh, there it is.
Back away slowly.
And back away slowly. Good job. So I think we can live and let live with the animals in state parks. Can I see a thumbs up? Good job. That's exactly right, Aria and Jordan. If you don't mess with it, it won't mess with you. Say to the snake, I'm not food. Yeah, you could try it.
Just like with the cougar, right? Tell the deers, I am not a deer. You tell the snake, I am not a rabbit. Madeline's, she's, I am not a deer.
I need the mouse. Is this the kind of mouse that a rattlesnake would go after?
I hope not.
Well, this has been really informative, Ranger Pat. Thank you so much for sharing all of this great information with us. I'll tell you what, we were going to do a quick quiz, but let's do questions. If there are any other questions for Ranger Pat or for Christy before we get to our fun little quiz. Raise your hand if you have a question. Kira, you want to unmute yourself and ask?
What do bears eat?
So when bears like to eat different things, so especially in the fall, they like to eat nuts or acorns and berries. That's that's the stuff they really want to eat. So that's what they look for in the fall. And when they eat the nuts, they eat the whole thing. Can you imagine taking a walnut in the shell and sticking it in your mouth and chewing up the whole thing? Well, a bear can do that. Yeah. And when they poop out the pieces of shell too.
Ew. Same with the peanut. A peanut has a shell too.
They could eat the shells of a peanut. Yes, they could.
Okay, you've got two in the chat. One is, what other animal should we be on the lookout for? And can snakes jump?
So snakes can't jump, right? But they've got a lot of muscle in their body so that when they coil up, if they're afraid, they're gonna coil up like this because they're trying to protect themselves, okay? But if you get too close, then they can reach out with their mouth and strike. So I think snakes are very cool because they kill rodents and they're part of the ecosystem. They're really important. But just like with the cougar and the bear, which I also love, I respect them. So what that means is I want to look at them, but from a safe distance, right? I don't want to upset them or scare them.
This is yours. Cool. And then it was, what other animals should we look out for? And also, have you ever seen any baby mountain lions? She said just lions, but I'm assuming she means mountain lions.
I wish I had seen baby mountain lions, but I feel really lucky to have seen, well, you know what? I got to back up.
I was going to say, I don't know if I would want to see baby mountain lions because then that means that mama's around too.
So many years ago, I was driving to work and I was getting close to the park and I saw a deer running down the hill, running across the road, and I saw something behind it. And all my brain would think was count. So the mountain lion ran across the road. The mountain lion ran across the road. The mountain lion ran across the road. The mountain lion ran into the road, stopped, looked at me, and then walked off the road. How many mountain lions or cougars did I see? Did you count? No, each one of those was a separate cougar. How many did I see? I saw 4 cougars that ran across the road. Now, cougars, they're usually by themselves. So my guess is, were you going to say something, Christy? Were you jumping in? My guess is that was a mama cougar with 3 teenage cougars. She was trying to teach them how to hunt. That's what I think. It was really cool. And as far as for other animals, you know, it's not so, for me, all of the animals are really cool. And what's important is to respect them. And that means everything. That means even if I see an ant, I don't want to step on it, or a spider, or a bee, or anything that's scary to me. It might be scary a little bit to me, but what do you think? Does it want to live just like I do?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, guys, gals?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cockroaches want to live, don't they?
They
Yeah.
do want to live, but every time I see one in the classroom.
We all want to live. Yeah, that's right.
And then,
One time I saw a dead bee in my grandma's backyard. It wasn't smushed or anything. I bet it stings something because its stinger wasn't there when I looked at it through a magnifying glass.
Well, that's really good that you took a look, right? Honeybees, when they sting, they die. So honeybees don't want to run around stinging things either. So, you know, everything wants to live and everything is interesting in its own way.
and then we've got a lot of have you seen these animals questions. So baby bear, coyote, I think I saw, and a bobcat.
Okay. So at Sugar Eat, I have seen all of those. Yep.
That's really cool. I saw a coyote at my house in Albuquerque.
Leah, did you have a question that you wanted to ask, or did you ask it in the chat already?
She did type, so her question was, have you seen a baby bear?
Okay, gotcha. Wonderful.
Yeah,
well,
there
this
was.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't, if I were starving, I might try and eat the nuts in bear poop, but I'd have to be really hungry.
And she saw it on a TV show for survivalists.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. And the baby bear that I saw was alive, but it was by itself, and I don't know if it was going to survive or not. I hope it did.
All right, so it's quiz time before we wrap up. Is everybody ready for a quiz? You guys feeling super Super sharp?
We've got some. You can do a sideways thumb or you can do a down thumb, but we want to see big thumbs.
And you don't get to answer because you already know what the questions are. You've been. All right. So if you know the answer, raise your hand and I'll call on you. We'll start with, this should be a gimme considering how many times that we heard Miss Christy talk about it. How many New Mexico state parks are there? Raise your hand. Shiloh, you want to unmute and tell us how many?
Four. It's 35.
35. Very good. All right. So good job, Shiloh. And now, no. Oh yeah, you can help me read the questions. Can you read the? Can you read number 2?
Name a state park.
Raise your hand if you can name a state park in New Mexico. Lana, go ahead.
Bandelier State Park.
You're close. That's a national park. But there's some, and we've got a lot of great national parks too. Can you think of a state park name? Here, we can come back to you. Reina, what's the state park that you know of in New Mexico?
Cimarron Canyon.
Very good. And Jordan says City of Rocks. Very good. Paisley, how about you?
Clayton Lake.
Clayton Lake.
Oh, okay.
Where the dinosaur trackways are. Leah, how about you?
Rio Grande Nature Center.
Excellent. Oh, I see Blue Water Lake State Park too. That's a good one. Shiloh, do you have another one that you want to say?
Elephant Butte.
Elephant Butte. You guys are such good listeners. You picked up a lot today. All right, so raise your hand if you can name a big animal that you might see at Sugarite State Park, Sugarite Canyon State Park. Kira, go ahead.
Bears.
Very good. Leah?
Mountain lions.
Was there another one? Can anybody think of another big animal you might see there?
Giant catfish. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to stop saying that.
What about a bobcat? Yeah. Ooh, that reminds me, I had a question I want to ask you, Ranger Pat. Is it a good idea or a bad idea to take our dogs with us when we visit state parks and go on a hike?
So if you have your dogs on a leash, then it's okay to take them with you on a hike. If they're not on a leash, what might they do that wouldn't be good for the wild animals? What might they do? They might run away.
It might disturb an animal.
Yeah, if they see a deer, they might chase it, right?
They might.
Or the dog might smell a cougar and go check on the cougar. And when the cougar looks and says, "What are you doing?" and the dog runs back to you, who's behind the dog?
Cougar.
The cougar. Yeah, so we want to keep our animals with us.
Good advice. Thank you. Okay, so raise your hand if you raise your hand, anyone but Alana, and tell me, what do you do? What do you do when you see, or if you see a cougar in a state park? Leah.
You raise your arms up and say, "I am not a deer," then sit back and do it again and repeat that.
Very good.
I am not.
Should we all do it together one more time just so we make sure we have it right? Ready? I am not a deer.
I am not a deer.
Very good.
Do not eat me.
Okay, 2 more questions. These are tricky. You have to think back to the videos that we saw. And this may be tricky if you couldn't hear them, but we'll see if anyone was able to hear them. What season is it at Cerrillos Hills State Park? What's about to happen with what animal are we going to see a lot more of this time at Cerrillos Hills State Park? Paisley?
Tarantulas.
Tarantulas. Great job. And then how about the last question on our quiz? Two more questions. Can you read that?
One thing you can do at.
What's one thing you can do at the Rio Grande Nature Center when you go visit? Can anybody think about what our cadet Girl Scout Lila shared about what you can do while you're there at the Rio Grande Nature Center? Madeline, you have an idea? I know you're kind of raising your hand, kind of saying maybe. Shiloh has her hand raised.
Look at
Tracks.
Look at tracks. Yes, very good. There are different animal tracks there. In fact, there's the bingo game you can play.
Mm-hmm.
Shiloh, what else can you do at Rio Grande Nature Center?
You can bird watch.
It's a great place to bird watch, and you can earn your animal habitats badge there. It's a really good place to learn about animal habitats. Tinsley, do you have another one? Nope. Okay, well then this is our very last question before we wrap up. You got to fill in the blank. Raise your hand if you can fill in the blank. Okay, can you read it?
Help keep black bears out of trouble.
By what? What comes after that? Help keep black bears out of trouble. Lana, can you fill in the blank?
Pick up trash on the double. I wouldn't be able to remember that.
You don't have to practice tonight. You can write it 3 times on the dry erase board. Well, Girl Scouts, can you help me say a big Girl Scout thank you both to Ranger Pat and to Christy Tafoya for sharing with us everything that we need to know about New Mexico State Parks and some of the wildlife that we could encounter there?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Big weekend, Girl Scouts. So make sure that you go. Online and you can register for Girl Scouts Love State Parks this weekend, where you can. Bye. You can register on at nmgirlscouts.org and earn a patch for going to visit a New Mexico State Park or for watching some of the virtual activities.
What are you doing?
So we can't wait to see your pictures and we can't wait to get your patches. And thank you guys all so very much. And thanks again, Christy. Matt, we appreciate it. And thank you, Charli.
Good night.
Good night, Girl Scouts.
Good night, Girl Scouts. Bye.
Thank you.
We'll see you at a state park soon.
Yeah. And Paisley, you were asking where can you see the virtual activities? You can see what the schedule looks like if you go to the Facebook event for the program. So you go to the Girl Scouts of New Mexico Trails Facebook page, click on events, and it should be the one right at the top. And it's got the activities right in there. Also, look at that puppy. Bye, Paisley.